Yeah, Leroy especially. Every time I looked in my rearview mirror, there was Leroy. Sometimes he would just wave. Most of the time he would wave me over to the side. And sometimes he'd give me tickets, sometimes just a warning. But it was a whole different lifestyle between the kids and the cops in those days. You had to really do something real bad to get in trouble. And one evening we had went to a dance, I think, at the California Ballroom. And before you go to the dance, we would normally go get a small bottle of Thunderbird, maybe a six-pack of Country Club, just so we could be loose when we get to the dance. And by the time we pulled over to the dance, they picked me up for having alcohol in the car. Took us down to police headquarters, and I'm in a panic. You know, I don't want my mom and dad to know about this. And Roy Coyle comes up and says, you know, we're having a lot of people spreading oil down there by Burgess on 10th Street, spinning their cars in it, and I see you down there every night. So if you'll give us some names of who's pouring this oil so we can put it stopped, I will let you go. We'll not arrest you. We'll send you home. Otherwise, you're going to jail for the night. I said, hey, I can find names. Trust me. So he let us go and sent us home. And I was thrilled to death not to be in trouble. And I thought, well, so much for that. But a week later, Lieutenant Coyle calls me at my home, and he says, I haven't heard from you yet. You haven't given me any names. And I said, oh, I'm working on it. I'll get back to you next week. I'll get some names. So a week goes by, and he calls me again. He says, I think you're just shining me on. I don't think you intend to turn in your friends. And I said, oh, not true. And he said, well, let me show you what it's going to be like to have the Modesto police mad at you. And I said, what do you mean? He said, you'll discover. So the next day, I go down to Cruise 10th. I don't go by two cops that they don't pull out and stop me, write me up for illegal mufflers. I go another half a block, they stop me again. I pull into the parking lot on 10th where I normally sit, and I'm not even moving. We're just sitting in the car, and the police pull up alongside me, say, start your car, I want to hear those pipes. And in 1 week, I got 27 tickets. So I called Lieutenant Coyle back up. I said, I get the picture. I'll find somebody. But he finally let it fade away, and I let it fade away. We never did turn in anybody that we knew. But it was something else to have that car. I couldn't even go by any cop that they didn't know it. Unfortunately, I sold that car about 2 weeks later to a kid named Louis Miles. And I told him, I said, don't be drinking in this car because I get stopped a lot. And he didn't realize how much a lot is. But he got stopped like 7 times the first 4 or 5 days downtown before the city police finally realized Terry sold his car. This is the new guy.